Hi guys, welcome back to the High Grade podcast. It's your girl Shinnel
and Shannel.
The topic of conversation today is the idea of instant gratification, and the tagline is instant gratification the enemy of progress? Now, Shan, instant gratification, what's the first thing that sort of comes into your head?
Having a microwave mentality.
What does that mean?
So that we get results fast. Lose 7 pounds in 7 days.
Yep.
Put your meal in the microwave for 2 minutes. Bish bash bosh.
I like it. So just a quick Google of what instant gratification is. It actually says that it's the desire for us to experience pleasure or fulfillment without delay or deferment. So essentially, to sum it all up, it's about when you want something and you want it right now. You don't want to wait for it. You just want it now. So in this episode, we're going to get stuck in. We're going to look at instant gratification and how it is, or maybe isn't, an enemy of your progress.
So it is essentially the pleasure principle that drives us to want to acquire instant gratification. So the pleasure principle releases dopamine into our bodies when we get a reward, like an instant reward. And it's that feeling or that hormone that we're addicted to. So we're addicted to dopamine, which means that biologically we just want an instant gratification because our body reacts really well to it. And like an addiction, you just want more and more of it.
I think that kind of relates even now to, you know, what we've been taught pretty much our whole lives, which is delayed gratification. But actually, biologically, we want that instant gratification. Even this idea of delayed gratification, it could be broken down to like the most simplest thing. So even now, there's this whole fad that's taken over the internet, like called the patience challenge. I'm sure you've seen it, where people are like, oh, wait here, mommy's just going to go to the toilet and you're just going to see if like the baby takes the sweet. This actually originated from a test in the 1960s, and they called it the marshmallow test. So what happened was a group of researchers got together with some young kids, and they basically said you can have a marshmallow now, but if you wait to the end of the day, you can have 2 marshmallows. And what happened is they did a follow-up study. The kids who waited for the 2 marshmallows, they ended up becoming academically and socially more competent than the peers who just took the marshmallow straight away, which kind of tells us how important it is to ensure that we are exercising that delayed gratification, because it's clear that it can, you know, pay dividends in the future. But it's really hard to wait when we're essentially just hardwired to just want something now.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think what society teaches us and shows us with the presence of social media and everything that around us, that you don't see delayed gratification on social media. I see overnight success on Instagram. I don't see the benefits of delayed gratification. And I think that is also what's harming us, is what we're seeing online, because you don't see all the hard work that someone has to go through and the hurdles and everything like that. All you see is the result. So to you, it looks like an instant gratification that they've had.
I think as well, it's not even just looking at people and seeing an overnight success. I just think where technology has like come into play, we're so used to having things now. So like you can interact with your friends using your phone in an instant. And it's the idea of instant messaging. You can speak to Amazon customer services within 5 minutes and get a new product sent out to you if it didn't get delivered, for example. So it's the idea where we've been trained to just have things straight away, or things are sorted straight away. And actually, when we have to wait for something in a store, we're like, oh my God, I'm never coming back here again. And that just shows us how much we've trained to want things now. And I think even when the idea of this podcast came about, when I presented it to you, I was like, yep, let's order the mic, let's order everything, let's go now. And you were like, no, Shin, we need to come up with a name of the podcast first before we can order. And I was like, flip sake, I just wanted to order it straight away. But again, it's just the idea of knowing that I can order something and then it arrives to my house the following day, sometimes even the same day. Once you've thought of an idea, you just want that reward. Yeah. So it's just strange just even talking about it now, how we're almost victim to it as well. But it's not just overtly the overnight success, it's sometimes just those little things as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I can be a victim of instant gratification. I know when I started a business, I thought to myself, I'm working so hard, I'm putting the hours in, I'm trying to do everything I can, I'm up in my education, I'm up in my personal development, and I'm still not seeing results.
Yeah.
Like, what the am I doing wrong?
I think it's hard because even though we want instant gratification. I think we have to be realistic with how long things actually take to realize and come into fruition. And I think quite often we have a really unrealistic idea of what it takes in order to fulfill whatever it is your dream or aspiration is.
So I think it's important to remember that hard work is not overrated, and hard work will get you genuine success that is sustainable. Now, a really good analogy that I love to use is the bamboo analogy.
Yeah.
Now, with the bamboo, you plant a seed every day. Obviously, you nurture it, you water it, you make sure it has access to sunlight. Someone has to do that every day. Now, the bamboo does not grow at all in year one. So you will not see any signs of growth.
Not even a little shoot.
Not even the little shoot with a little leaf. None of that. You will not see any growth in year 2, year 3.
I'm giving up at this point.
Not even year 4. Now, if you was to, we might not have access to bamboo, but if you was to plant a plant and imagine that in your head, if after 4 years of watering this plant, you don't see any signs of growth, I'm going to think, well,
are you dead?
Are you dead? Did you get eaten by a bug? Like, did I do something wrong? And it's not until year 5 that this same bamboo plant grows 80 feet in 6 weeks.
Wow.
Now that is
that's really powerful.
Huge.
That's
that
really
is
powerful.
huge. And it's those 4 years that it's been spent growing underneath the soil. So building the sustainable foundations that you don't see.
Yeah.
Building those solid foundations, because obviously you're going to need a solid foundation to hold 80 foot worth of bamboo. And I think it's really important to realise whenever we think, oh, we need that instant gratification, just remember the bamboo analogy, that you have to build them solid foundations first underneath the soil where no one can see. Maybe you don't even realise you're building them in order to support massive growth.
But it's all about the idea of having patience as well, isn't it? Because quite often, like, I'm a victim of this. So I always think about when I want to go to the gym. So like my whole life, I've been in and out of the gym like every year, and I will, you know, sign up and I'm like, yep, I'm all for it. I'll go to the gym. I'll like go ham for like 2-3 months, and then I'll just drop off, because after 2-3 months you expect to see these massive results. I want to have abs that line down the middle. I want to be looking like 10-10. Yeah, I want to be looking 10-10. And when that doesn't happen, automatically, subconsciously, you're like, well, I'm working out, I'm going to the gym, I'm eating right, why can't I see those results? And then that's when you just sort of say, oh, well, I'm not going to go anymore. And then you almost train yourself to think, well, because I haven't seen results, it's okay if I don't continue this anymore. But I think in life, there is always going to be a degree of uncertainty in everything that we do. So anything that requires some form of hard work, there's always going to be that degree of uncertainty. So whether that's at work, applying for a new promotion, studying, opening a business, whatever it is. But because there's that degree of uncertainty, we are almost okay with not seeing the results, because in the beginning we were like, yeah, I kind of knew this was going to happen anyway. And then that idea of instant gratification, because you don't get it and because you don't see the results, you don't see the fruition of your hard work, you're like, oh, sod this, I'm not going to continue.
Yeah.
And it's really, really sad. And I'm just going to refer again, I think I've spoken about this book before. It's Atomic Habits by James Clear. He talks about this graph. It's called the plateau of latent potential. I'm going to draw it for you guys as well. So essentially, this is where we start. We expect the journey to look like this, where over time, our progress and our results essentially increase, right? But then actually, the journey of hard work looks like this. So over time, it's almost like there's no results, no progress. It's almost like you get worse. And then there's a particular point where you peak, and then that's when you start seeing the results. But actually, this point here, where what you expect to happen and what actually happens, this gap is known as the valley of disappointment. And this is where usually people drop off in this valley of disappointment, because people don't see the expected results. This is where they're like, oh, well, I knew this was going to happen anyway. Or because I haven't seen results, this is where I'm just not going to continue anymore. And because most people drop off here, people don't see the results that could happen after you've left this valley of disappointment. And I think just seeing it visually like this is so powerful, because it just shows, like, I was in the valley of disappointment.
Yeah.
When I couldn't see the results from going to the gym, I was in that valley of disappointment. And it's so hard, because it's almost like a mental challenge, a mental test to say, because I can't physically, tangibly see the results, I'm just going to keep on going anyway. And that takes a level of self-discipline that I think has to be trained into you.
Yeah, 100%. I think you have to ask yourself the question, do you want to avoid pain in the moment by having that instant gratification and having that reward really quickly? Or do you want to work hard for a bigger purpose?
Yeah.
And that, going back to the graph, is just, you just have to train your mind to be able to not expect results quickly, because nothing worth having is easy. Nothing.
I think as well, people are not equal in the amount of patience that they have.
Yeah.
Just like the same way people are not equal in the type of food that they like. So, for example, when people leave school, some people are like, yeah, do you know what? I want to train to be a doctor. Knowing that training to be a doctor could take circa 10 years to qualify. But then there's some people that leave school and they're like, I want to get money straight away. I'm just going to learn a trade. But then it's that drive or desire to want to earn money straight away. So you almost go for the easiest route in comparison to a 10-year slog studying, a 10-year slog qualifying to become a doctor, and then that's when you have that opportunity to earn almost the big bucks. It's almost like a form of self-sabotage, where because you want this instant gratification straight away, you're self-sabotaging your future potential.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was at uni, my final year, I basically lived in like this white robe sitting at my dining room table, and I was literally studying every single day for what seemed like my whole life. And I've got pictures, I might like pop them up somewhere around here. In every picture, I just looked like I was just deteriorating slowly. But that period of hard work for a year, that period of, you know, not looking for the results, but rather looking for the outcome that I knew was going to come, that's what kept me going. And while everyone else was not, I guess, putting in the same effort as me, or realizing that instant gratification is going to be an enemy of my progress, I just thought I have to overcome this, and self-discipline is what I need to practice right now. And yeah, like I left uni with a first, and for me that was definitely something that I wanted.
Well done.
Brush your shoulders off. Yeah, that's definitely something that I wanted. But if you consistently want to indulge in seeing the results, the need to see results straight away is going to almost be the thing that holds you back.
Yeah. You're never going to put your mind to something long term if you just want results straight away. I think we need to think long term. And I think something that will really help people practice delayed gratification is practicing mindfulness, but also self-reflection.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times, unless we're seeing this really, really big tangible result, unless we've ticked off that goal, I'm making X amount more or whatever it may be, then we don't really see it as a result. But I think personally for me, so I've just got this new 6-minute journal, and in that journal it asks me what I'm grateful for, what good things I've done in the day, what am I proud of, and etc. Now, doing things like that, if I do it for an entire year and I look back a year ago and see what I wrote a year ago to where you are now, it will show your growth. Yeah. So even though I'm still may not be reaching the goal that I've set, may not even be anywhere near it, I can see by doing self-reflection how far I've come. Yeah. And I think that's really important to prevent the feeling of wanting instant gratification and want to push yourself by having a self-reflecting journal.
That's a really good point as well, because I feel like a lot of people, when they do something and they maybe get a result straight away, I almost feel like your connection with that result isn't as deep. Yeah. Like it feels almost falsified, because I know the hard work that I put in to get a great sort of outcome at uni, to get where I am right now in my career, has not been an easy road. And so my connection with how hard I've worked and the outcome that I've achieved is so deep in comparison to someone who may have achieved by accident, because that stuff does happen. Yeah. And it's so easily overlooked because they didn't have to put in that hard work, they didn't have to put in that grind to get that outcome. And I think where we look for instant gratification all the time, it's so hard because you want it and you almost need it to keep going, but you have to have the discipline to just have tunnel vision and just not even look for that, just look towards what is coming, what am I working this hard for?
Yeah, like you said, that's brilliant, but also looking at how you have grown and what you have achieved, because sometimes we just need that sign. Like, I set myself a goal almost over a year ago. I had an income goal that I wanted from my business, and it was a very big goal. I'm still not there, and there's been times where I think to myself, what else can I do? I'm working so hard, I'm putting in the hours, I've done sleepless nights, and I'm still not there. But then when I sit to myself and I think things I didn't originally put as my goal, so for example, become a better person, read more, work on my personal development, they weren't my goals, but they have come with trying to get to where I need to be. And I've only realised that through self-reflection. So I think it's a powerful character builder working to delayed gratification, because you naturally, you're just going to become a more disciplined person. Like the Stanford marshmallow test showed, people that can practice delayed gratification are potentially academically smarter.
So this income goal that you've set yourself, are you on track, behind, exceeding that target currently?
I think that I am probably behind that target at the moment. Lockdown has slowed down everything for me. So it means I haven't been able to achieve some of the goals I set myself because of the climate that we're in. So I would say I'm definitely behind my income goal for this year.
And when did you set this goal for yourself?
January 2020.
Okay. And obviously with lockdown, it's obviously much harder. But how do you sort of drive yourself to keep moving forward? So you have every reason pretty much to say, forget this, I'm not doing it anymore, because, you know, no one ever imagined that this was going to happen. And everyone's always like, property is amazing, property can make you passive income. But then actually in the books and in all the courses, they never prepare you for stuff like this. So how do you drive yourself every morning to just say, yeah, I'm still going to work on my business, I'm still going to continue, despite knowing that you're already behind on your goal?
I think having a bigger purpose and having a really, really strong reason as to why I'm doing it in the first place. I think if I set up a business for fun, just because I was bored and I wanted a hobby, I probably wouldn't have carried it on. I probably would have thought, you know what, this has been a really scary period and it scared me away from property. I think I would have thought that, but I have a bigger purpose and a bigger reason why, as to, do you know what, I'm still going to work as hard as I was before lockdown, and I will still somehow, some way achieve my income goal for this year. So I think just kind of getting to the root of why you're actually doing what you're doing can help delayed gratification. If you're just doing it, or if you don't know why you're doing it and you're kind of just doing it because, I don't think instant gratification is going to be something that will swerve you off your journey really easily. Whereas if you have a deeper purpose, why are you doing what you are doing? What is the bigger picture? What is it going to bring you? What are you going to achieve? How is it going to help you? How's it going to help your family by getting that goal? Then delayed gratification is not easy, but it does make life a little bit easier. Because you don't have a choice. You have to do what you're doing.
100%. Because I think, like, for me, I always go back to when I was at uni, because for me, that was just, there was a really, really difficult point in my life, like final year. And if you've gone to uni, you know that final year will make you go mad. And it was so hard because the people around me, they weren't at the same stage that I was at, and they were, you know, doing the most, and I was just at home in my white robe just looking dead and studying. Like, I would have a whiteboard and I would talk to myself, teaching myself on this whiteboard, and I'm thinking, why can't I just be out right now? But for me, the deeper purpose was because I had grown up knowing that if I go to university, I can have access to a better job, which means access to more money and better sort of career prospects in the future. For me, that was my bigger purpose. That was my reason why, because I know that, you know, my parents wanted that from me and I wanted to do that for my parents, and it was good for my future. So it wasn't, just go to university and get a first. It was go to university, achieve a first, because I want X, Y, Z from my life, and I want to make sure that my parents are proud. So when you have that deeper purpose, that deeper meaning, if there is any doubt in your mind or your self-control is tested, because you have that deeper purpose, you can think back and say, okay, this is why I'm doing this. I'm not going to indulge in something that will bring me that instant gratification, because it is so hard. It's so hard. And I've definitely like dropped off one too many times on something that I'm trying to achieve. But I think having that self-control is so key, because self-control almost positively correlates with positive outcomes.
Yeah.
If you can control your temptations, if you can control the desire to have to experience something now, positive outcomes will almost be inevitable. And I think seeing it now from my brother, for example, so he's like in between a rock and a hard place. He doesn't know if he wants to go to uni, if he doesn't know if he wants to do an apprenticeship. And that's not because he's had no direction, but it's just because he just doesn't know what he wants to do, which is absolutely fine for anyone out there who's thinking about that.
That's normal.
Yeah, it's so normal. And I think where we've almost trained kids to say, you go to school, sixth form, and then you go to uni, like that's not just the one route. But because he's faced with so many different pathways, he's not sure which one to choose. And so, you know, I'm presenting him with all of these options, and all he can think of is, but what's that going to get me? What do I get out of it? So he's not necessarily thinking about the journey and what the journey is going to be like and what he can learn along the way and what that's going to teach him and how his character is going to build. Instantly, his question is, but what do I get from it? And it's because he wants to see what reward he can get straight away from just doing like this much work. And if you do this much work, how can you expect an outcome that's this big? Because if you do nothing, how can you expect something? That just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But his problem is not just isolated to him. It's a problem that is far reaching to everyone at whatever aspect you are in your life. And I think if you chase instant gratification, you're just self-sabotaging yourself.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember, don't give up what you want the most for what you want now.
Ooh,
that's
say
a good
that
one,
again.
Don't give up what you want the most to have what you want now. And that is so important. And
so important.
It sounds a bit cringe, but I have that written up in my diary, because
100%.
I have to remind myself what I want in the future versus what I want now. I want to be a millionaire. I want a big ass house. I want everything.
That's
but
just not gonna
it's
happen
not going to
now.
happen. So don't give up what I want the most, which is a beautiful life, financially stable, no money worries, a beautiful family, a beautiful house, for that instant gratification of just, oh my God, I want everything now. They've got a nice pair of Balenciaga trainers. Should I buy some too? So delayed gratification is actually one of the most common traits of successful people.
I'm not surprised, to be honest, because when I was doing a lot of research online, I saw something that came up and it really spoke to my soul. And it says, I'm just going to read it for you guys. It says, the need for instant gratification manifests procrastination. And I know that there's probably a lot of people out there watching or listening who are like, yeah, I'm a procrastinator. I'm a procrastinator through and through. And it's almost like you say you're going to do something, you want to achieve this big goal of yours, and then you find every reason as to why you can't do it. And that is simply procrastination. You're just procrastinating doing it. But it's because you know in the back of your mind how long it's going to take to achieve this. You know the hard work, the grit, the sleepless nights that are going to have to go into you achieving and chasing this goal. And because you want that instant gratification, it just manifests procrastination.
Yeah.
When you think about it, it's so easy to understand. It's so easy to understand, but actually in practice, it's much more difficult for people to put into practice. What are your thoughts on instant gratification not being the enemy of progress then? So we're flipping the coin here.
I think that instant gratification can give you a bit of motivation in terms of you've set yourself, I don't want to say a goal, but you set yourself a task, you have a deadline on that, and the deadline's tomorrow, and you've got instant gratification because you have achieved it. That gives you a boost. It's like, I can do that. That's how it makes you feel. I can.
Yeah.
I'm good enough. I can do it. I've achieved it. Okay, let me move on. Like, it gives you a boost of motivation.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much I agree with that statement.
You're so black and white.
I actually am.
You're just like, it either is or it isn't.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground with you.
We need to find a topic where I'm like middle ground, because for me, I am a very black and white thinker, so it is or it isn't. I can see the other side, that instant gratification can give you that boost and give you that motivation, but I just think in practice I don't know how.
I think for me though, instant gratification, I think it can be a driver sometimes for you to remain motivated, because it's almost like little carrots along the way. So it's like you're on this journey, you're going through this process, and if every so often there's like a little carrot that you can go, nice. That kind of keeps you going. Nice. That kind of keeps you going until you get to the end. But then that begs the question, why do you need those little carrots along the way to keep you going when the outcome is going to be the same anyway? Why can't you just keep your eye on the prize and just drive yourself forward? Why do you need the little carrot here and there to say that you're doing a good job when you know in your head you wouldn't have set this thing as your goal or your task if you knew it wasn't going to bring you the outcome that you wanted?
Yeah, I think the rewards are nice, don't get me wrong. The rewards and the instant gratification is great. It does make you feel good, but it comes down to a question of, like you said, why do you need it? If you know that you are putting in the work, undoubtedly you're not procrastinating, you're not reasoning with yourself as to why you're not doing something, you're putting in the work, you're showing up every day. It's the law of attraction that sometimes it may take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, that it's going to happen. And I think it's always important remembering that. I think sometimes when we do procrastinate or we do put off a task, we reason with ourselves, and that's the issue. We reason with ourselves and think, oh, do you know what, if you've set yourself a task the night before, you've had a not really great sleep, and you start to reason with yourself, okay, I'm not going to do it, I'm tired.
To try and make yourself feel better.
But it's okay because you're tired, so you don't have to do it. And I'm guilty of this. I do the exact same thing. But you have to ask yourself, what's the reason why I should be doing it? Not why I'm not doing it. What is the reason that I should be doing that task? And it kind of eliminates procrastination a little bit. But I think the problem is we reason with ourselves, and that's why, oh, I haven't hit that, like, I didn't see results, so it doesn't work, so I'm not going to do it anymore.
It's just self-discipline, self-control again, isn't it? And I think self-control, self-discipline, it is a learned trait. You have to learn it. It's not innate, I don't think. And that's a positive thing, because you can learn it. So if you know that your self-discipline or your self-control right now is like minuscule, or it's non-existent basically, it's a positive, because you know that you can actually build it up to the point where you eliminate your procrastination, you eliminate that need or that want for the instant gratification. Okay, Shan, so for all our listeners and our viewers out there who are tuning in and they're questioning themselves, am I someone who's victim to instant gratification? How can they figure out if they are or aren't?
So I think a really silly example, but it might be quite helpful, is if, say, you just got Burger King, you either prefer the chips or the burger, right? There's no black and white, right? You either prefer the chips or you prefer the burger. So if I ask you, what's your favorite, the chips or the burger? So if yours is the burger and you eat the burger first, that is a sign of instant gratification.
Okay.
Because you haven't been able to wait. You know it's your favorite thing,
so you want to eat it first.
So you want to eat it first.
Okay, got you.
If I eat the chips first, knowing that the burger's my favourite and I'm going to save it till last, that's delayed gratification.
Now that you've explained it like that, it makes total sense. It makes total sense now that you've explained it like that. Okay, so I think in your head now, figure out what's your favourite, burger or chips, and then just make a mental note or write in your notes in your phone, and the next time you go out, whenever that's going to be, or if you order in McDonald's from Deliveroo,
just pay attention.
Pay attention to what you pick up first. And then you can determine if you're a person who likes or wants instant gratification, or if you are able to delay that gratification.
Because I can guarantee you, if you eat the burger first and that's your favourite, after you've eaten the burger and you go to your chips, you regret eating the burger first.
But can I just say, like, there's actually people out there that eat both at the same time, like me. So I don't eat just the chips first and then
I know,
the burger.
but it's like, what do you have the last mouthful of?
I don't think about it that much. It's just
you probably
a burger
do.
And chips.
It's probably just subconscious. So next time you have a vegan burger and chips, you have to.
I'll pay attention. Okay, so as always, we always want to give you guys, practical tips that you can take away. So Shan, is instant gratification the enemy of progress in your opinion?
Yes, I think it can be.
Okay, and what would be your last words, last tip or advice to someone who's watching, who says, yep, I agree with you, what can I do?
So I think that knowing and realising your bigger purpose and your reason why you're doing what you're doing, and write it down in your own handwriting, remind yourself and put it somewhere where you can see daily. And if you are ever in doubt and you feel like you're doing a lot of work and you're not getting the results, then remember the bamboo analogy, that a lot of the time you're building systems and solid foundations that you actually can't see. They're below the surface, and it's only with patience and with that hard work that someday, one day, it will sprout 80 foot.
I like it.
And you, Shinnel?
This is a tough one for me. I think once you've figured out your purpose or your reason why, just like what you've suggested, I think potentially identifying what obstacles you might face along the way before you've embarked on that journey, first of all, because if you do that, you're not stranger to the fact that I know I'm going to face challenges, but it's almost like you're preempting those challenges before you've embarked on that journey. And what I will do or what I might do to overcome those challenges, so that I've already accepted the fact that it's not going to be a straight road. I've already accepted the fact that it's not going to be easy. And more so, I've prepared for these obstacles by figuring out what I'm going to do along the way. And I think once you've just done that step, it means that you've accepted that the journey is not going to be easy. And once you've got that in your head, any obstacle that comes up, and it will probably be an obstacle that you haven't prepared for, you're already going to be trained and you're going to know that, yeah, I knew that this was coming and I'm prepared for it.
Yeah.
And I think transformation into your best self or your best you is a slow process, and expecting that it's going to happen overnight or expecting that it's going to come easy is a fantasy. And if you think anything in life is going to come easy, or if you expect to put in this much for this outcome, you're a fool, my friend, because that's not how it works.
And I think just adding on to what you said with listing all the obstacles, I think it's really, really important to remember that most people probably won't even think of that the biggest obstacle you're ever going to face is yourself. 100%. So make sure, we said that at the same time. So make sure when you do list the obstacles that you're not forgetting yourself, because I think a lot of people, it's quite confronting when looking within, and not a lot of people look within themselves. So I think it's very, very just remember that your biggest obstacle is yourself. So make sure you put you down.
I think an offering that we gave people before was having an accountability partner. And I think particularly in a case where you might be victim to wanting instant gratification all the time, having an accountability partner can be so key in you being able to overcome that. So again, like if you are someone who needs an accountability partner that's going to hold you accountable for the things that you've said you're going to do and will challenge you when you are driving towards that temptation of instant gratification, then please DM us, email us. We'll hook you up with someone who also wants an accountability partner, and it's going to do wonders for you. And I think even though I mentioned the little carrots along the way, if you know that you do like the instant gratification, I think use that to your strength in a way and have milestone rewards for yourself.
So you've got your main goal, or your main task, set smaller ones along the way, because like you said, that is really good. That is instead of looking at the big things, you're not going to achieve the big thing straight away. Setting smaller milestones will enable you to have that release of dopamine that I achieved it. So that's really good advice.
So like just to give you guys an example, so me and you in our other venture together, so we're going to work with schools in the future. We've said when we've got one school on board, we're going to go for a spa weekend. Once we've got 3 schools on board, we're going to go to Amsterdam for the weekend, all the way up until 5 schools. And those are the mini milestone rewards along the way that are feeding the need for instant gratification, but still we have our sights on the much bigger picture. And I think that is key. And if you know that you're someone who needs those mini rewards, those mini carrots along the way, use that to your advantage and set rewards prior to you starting your journey. So you've got those things to look forward to.
That's very good.
Cheers, babes. So we hope that this episode was thought-provoking as always and challenged the way that you think. It's so important that if not with your friends, but with us, you are growing the way that you're thinking and you're progressing on this journey of self-development.
So as always, guys, if you enjoyed the podcast and you want to hear more, please rate and review the podcast, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Instagram at The High Grade Podcast.
Yes, and always remember to tune in for your weekly dose of that
10-10.
Hey! And like us on the podcast. That doesn't make sense.
No, rate and review our podcast.
Okay. Can you say it then?
Yeah,
I do want you to say it.
That was so good.
Mate.
That was actually...
That was long.
That was sickly